Greetings yet again. That is Karra behind my shoulder, who is my higher dimensional twin soul and member of Ashtar Command on Hitty Space. I am Russ Hatfield, and the archivist who recorded these channeling sessions channeled by Mark Crocker back in the 90s. In this lesson, Karra covers a lot of ground during her time channeling, with her first describing herself and then how she heals by helping the patient to heal themselves. She moves on to a recent successful hand transplant recently on this planet, as well as clinic experiments taking place in South Korea. That leads to a talk about combining the two. You can follow our online transcript at link below of our homepage, centerforascension.org, and please subscribe if you want at the end of this video to be alerted to future challenge sessions, editorials from Karra and myself, and lessons from the Center for Ascension. And now, it's all in the mind.
Okay, let us throw open the floor as we have a honoured guest and ask questions. First of all, I would say that I am an ambassador. My primary enjoyment in life is healing. I was educated, I believe you would say, the University of Sirius as a healer. I have field medicine experience. My main passions are herbs, and using energy flows and energy crystals. I also have a good grounding in basic medicine, basic healing overall, such as how to set a bone, how to reattach appendages, how to stitch skin back together, that kind of stuff. Poultices, herbs, their effects, how to redirect energy, how to heal by using the person's own healing ability. And so you have an interest in that, don't you? Mm-hmm. What would you like to know? Pick my brain. Feel free, it's my brain. It's fine to offer.
How do you use it on healing challenge?
For example, let's say I wanted to heal Skip, and he couldn't do it on his own. What I would do is, by going through certain rituals, I'm using his energy to bring it up to a higher frequency, or if my frequency is lower, to a lower frequency that matches mine, and mine alters to match his, so that you meet somewhere in the middle, from a higher or a lower to a point that is common ground. And what you do is, by using certain rituals, for example, bowls of water, cleansing your hands, and the belief that they have that you can heal them, by them believing that you can heal them, you can heal them. But in actual fact, they're healing themselves. That's a trade secret, actually. As a healer, you heal the patient by getting them to heal themselves, by talking them through and then believing that you can get them, that they can get you to heal them. They're healing themselves. You're speeding up the process. There are various rituals and beliefs that you play on those beliefs that they can speed up the healing process. If a person believes that, for example, distilled water will cure them of what ails them, it will. It will speed up the process. You see, the most powerful tool for healing is the person's own mind. So that's the first step of healing, is getting them to use their mind. Now, of course, there are instances where they lack in belief and lack in the feeling that they can heal themselves. So you have to find what they think will heal them, whether it's technology, whether it's eating certain foods, doing certain activities. And in doing so, you're again getting them to heal themselves, even though you're using your knowledge to put them on the right path. They're doing the actual work, but you're also doing the work. You can't have one without the other. Does that help?
Yes, thank you for your insight.
Oh, no problem. Feel free to ask any questions. I say, pick my brain. After all, it is my brain.
Two doctors who were talking about some medicine they'd been researching and giving out as test subjects. And the medicines were a combination of 4 different ingredients.
Mhm.
And they had the initials EO, P, and H.
Mhm.
And one doctor gave it to him as the EO or EOPH. And he was getting 20% recovery rates, success rates. Whereas the other doctor was giving them out in another format and getting 80%. The doctor with the 20% asked the guy with the 80%, how is it working? How are you making these so much? And he spelled it out, telling him, getting them hope.
Sweetheart,
Yes.
I got a question to ask.
Mhm.
We seen on the net today about the first limb transplant
Oh, yeah.
in American
Just
history.
arm transplant.
Hand transplant.
Yeah.
Hand transplant. Will this take?
Yes.
Good. Great.
There will be difficulties at first, and the hand transplant may or may not be successful. I watched that with interest myself, actually. I heard about it yesterday.
Okay, because we've seen it today on
Yeah.
the net.
And I have suspicions about this particular one, that yes, it is a transplant, but there are so many problems connected with it.
Yeah.
Whether or not they have full motor skills in the hand is something that is yet to be seen. But in time, as the technology improves, because there's a lot of just more than grafting and connecting the arteries and everything else. Yeah. The first question that I have is, once the healing is done, will the limb have the full range of motions?
And what about the nerves?
Will it have touch? Will it have the ability to feel heat and cold? It's going to feel warm. Actually, the best person to talk about that is somebody that's experienced it firsthand. And if you want, we can send out a request for her.
You're talking about like a,
You remember her leg incident?
yes. But there's no sense of sending. We can talk to her at a later time.
Well, she's going to be here until the end of June.
Oh, okay, fine. We talk to her later. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay,
No
now
problem.
there's one other question I need to ask you, and this is a personal question.
Okay.
And I want to find out is by me using my power as much as I have been,
Are
is
you
it-
depleting it?
well, I want to find out if I'm depleting it or increasing it.
Increasing it, yes, but depleting. How can you deplete something that is renewable?
This is true. I wasn't worried about the depletion. I was kind of wondering about the increase because I've been practicing more with it.
You always increase. The more you use something, the more it increases.
Okay.
It's like, what's the phrase? When you work out, you increase your muscle strength and your stamina. It's the same.
Okay.
However, you can deplete it temporarily.
But it will rebuild.
Yes, it will renew itself.
Yeah, from the energy of the earth. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, I had an experience about a year ago
Mhm.
where I felt different shifts of energy leave me.
Mhm.
And at the same time, my image was appearing at somebody else's side without me knowing I was there. Can you tell me what that was?
And that would be accidental astral travel.
And how can
Or accidental astral projection.
how
Okay,
can
you were
I
not
avoid
aware.
that?
It's not actually my field. You'd have to talk to a resident astral travel expert. Unfortunately, she's busy trying to catch somebody at the moment.
Okay. Anyhow.
No problem. I can give you a brief answer. What is happening is that you're probably at a point where you wanted to project and were thinking about that particular person, and you're thinking about them intensely and have intense feelings for them. And you're projecting an image to their location, even though you're not actually going there yourself or aware of astral traveling
Yes.
there.
Mhm.
That's my best guess. If we could get a hold of overactive, playful feline, she would give you a full explanation in great detail. But at the moment, her ears are twitching and she's in hot pursuit, which should be fun to watch. Any more questions? I need to.
I just had one. Apparently, the the Koreans said that they are able to working on cloning of humans. Is it possible that what they were talking about now that they're able to transplant? Is it possible that the two sciences might be merged in the future?
Very probable. Very probable. And Skip's response is yes, genetically they would be identical to the original genetic material, to the original genetic person. However, to clone exactly, they would have to experience everything that person had experienced environmentally. Because
there's a lot of moral problems on that.
Oh,
but the moral problems on their own are unimportant. Cloning of somebody, for example, a clone is not an identical replicant of the person. For example, we could not have 100 identical Russes because they would all have to experience exactly the same thing.
And that's almost impossible.
That's correct. You could clone 20 people all together and have those 20 experience everything together. But the thought processes, and the actions, and everything, and the responses would be different because each person has 100 or 1,000 different ways of responding to one particular event.
So what would the purpose of this cloning be?
Let's take somebody from your country. Albert Einstein. No, he was Austrian, wasn't he?
Not sure.
Yeah, he was Austrian. Okay, from your area.
Okay.
Okay. And you clone 100 Albert Einsteins. Think of the thinking capability of 100 Albert Einsteins.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. That
Be
would be
there for
fantastic.
ethical?
No, I don't.
No.
Morally wrong as far as I can
Yes.
see.
And actually, you have talked to a clone frequently. Tia is a clone of herself. She has her original consciousness, but her body is a clone.
Can you explain that one?
What happened was that she was experimenting on her home and her own dimension with dimensional jumps. That's pulling her body through to a different dimension. And she succeeded, apart from her body went into shock. There was severe trauma to her body, which made it impossible to heal it. But her consciousness and her heart rate and her mental processes slowed down to the point of almost stopping. And we were unable to retrieve and reactivate it. So what we basically did was took her genetic material, copied it, forced a clone, which is a little bit shaky to do. If you force accelerate the clone, there are so many different possibilities that can happen and go wrong. And then we used a kind of, the best way to describe it is that we inserted a computer disk, and took out all her consciousness and then reprogrammed it into her new body.
Okay, now
That's the easiest way to explain it.
in your dimension,
Mm-hmm.
this is feasible.
Yes. It's
In our
tricky.
In our dimension, not hardly.
It's impossible in your dimension. In ours, it is a high risk.
Yeah, but in our dimension, it's impossible
Mhm.
to do what you've done in your dimension.
Well, for us, we've done it probably a grand total of, I would say, 1,000 times.
Yeah.
We've succeeded in probably only 100.
Wow, that's not a very good average.
Yeah, and yeah, once you do the transfer of consciousness, and if it isn't successful, you lose both.
Yeah, you would.
Does it have to do with the person being transferred, whether they want to transfer or not, what make it successful?
Pretty much so, yes. Pretty much so. They've got to be acceptable of what's going on and really desire to continue in
Free
that
will.
life form.
Free will, just like you said. You have
Mhm.
free will.
And Tia, fortunately, had an incredible desire. Her first desire was that she wanted her body back and to get back home. But once she learned that she couldn't, then it's sort of like, okay, let's make the best of the situation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she's probably even more happier now than she was on her home planet. She misses it.
I'm sure she does.
Okay, next question.
I think that'll suffice. How about you,
Yeah.
Doug?
Me as well.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.